Hi, Scott here. I am a vocal introvert. Today I want to talk a little bit about vulnerability. I've spent the last week sort of thinking about vulnerability and thinking about how I have been vulnerable. And one of the ones that definitely deals the closest is the last video I did. I posted it up to Facebook, to the group, which I've always done, but then I actually shared it to my personal Facebook page, which I've never done before. An interesting thing about that is, I'd say all my friends except for one didn't even know I was doing this. Maybe my wife thought I knew a little bit about it, but not really even her. But where that's come from was trying to, again, sort of embarrass and being a little bit not wanting to be vulnerable. And I thought, you know what, kind of screw it. I need to put this out there. I was happy with the episode. And I was excited about the transformational effect of meeting somebody and going from being woe is me to feeling all happy and that sort of thing. So that was exciting. But what I wanted to really show is the comments and the conversations that I've had with my friends after I posted that have been fantastic. And it isn't just, doing that little click, like, thumbs up on Facebook. It's been more than that. It's been the conversations that I've had digitally. It's been the conversations that I've had physically at coffee shops and on the phone and in person and over a beer and chicken wings with friends of mine who have said, wow, that was really great. You know what? Yeah, you know what? My husband's an introvert, or I'm an introvert. And people have been going, wow, there's something to this. Attaboy, way to do that. So that's been feeling really good. The other one is, as it relates to a fraternity that I belong to, and I've been doing a talk for about maybe a half a dozen talks on what it is to have male emotion. And society has always said for so many years, men don't cry, you need to man up, you got to be tough, and about how you start off as little kids and you have all these feelings and then slowly siphoned out of you or beaten out of you to be a man and to be tough, and about how impactful in a negative way that is to men. And what started off as maybe a 25-minute conversation with a couple of videos thrown in has turned into an hour and a half conversations every time that I do this, because the men are just lapping it up. It's an environment where they can talk about their emotions, where they can be vulnerable, because it's just men. And it talks about how the men's need to have this connection, I'll say this love, that's more than just a romantic love with your spouse. It's being able to have that conversation with other men. And so it's been fantastic for me to see how my being vulnerable and seeing this and sensing it and making a talk on this and giving this talk to all these different groups of men is shedding light on it, and they're loving it. And so there's a movement called about this, about how men need to have emotions, and they need to have fraternal emotions, and they, more than just the romantic relationships when it comes to emotions. And I'll put a link into the bottom of that as well. But really, sort of the whole broad picture of this came from about 4, 5, 6 years ago. It was a TED Talk that I stumbled onto. It was one of the most popular ones around, by Brene Brown, and talked about the power of vulnerability. And I'll put a link into that as well down in the notes. But think about that. Think about vulnerability, and when you can have the right person in the right environment, giving the right amount of vulnerability, how empowering that is for you as an introvert. For you to sit there and go, you know what? Because that's what introversion is all about. It's feeling vulnerable. It's feeling that, you're doing the wrong thing, you're not being extroverted enough, and you're just a wallflower. But there's something about being that wallflower. So I'm excited about being vulnerable, and that's really a big part of why I'm doing this video series is, oh my God, what am I doing? And I said in the first one, scared shitless. And I'm less scared shitless now because I've been enjoying doing it. It's been insightful for me. But look for your vulnerability from time to time and be aware of it. But more importantly, be aware of other people's vulnerability and engage with them when they're being vulnerable. Because I'll tell you, it takes a lot of nerve to be vulnerable for a lot of people, especially for us introverts. So look for that, try that, and we'll be seeing you later.